Is Chris going to be a complete disaster for the MrBeast brand, which is a multi-million-dollar entity? Well, let's find out. Supposedly, this YouTuber by the name of Sunny V2, who talks like this, I'm going to react to this. I'm going to give you my perspective. Also, stick around to the end, because I want to share with you what MrBeast thinks of this video that's going viral right now as we speak by Sunny V2. So let's take a look at this. I'm not going to be talking about the political or moral ramifications. We're not getting, there's no religiosity or political kind of banter going on here. We're strictly going to be looking at this from a business standpoint. I run a content business. I'm a full-time content creator. I've been in the creator economy for almost a decade now. I talk a lot about it. We host the Creator Economy podcast, which is one of the top podcasts on Spotify and Apple in that niche. And so this is going to be my reaction. So let's get right into it without further ado. And if you don't know what's been happening, he's been kind of transforming, taking hormone replacement therapy, which is essentially the hormones that you would take to transition into another gender. And he kind of talks about, the background. I'm not going to really talk about that. So I want to fast forward to what he says about the business. So he talks about how strange and this was a very recent stream called Opening Up 1,000 Mystery Packages or something like that. You can find it on YouTube, I'm sure. And he also talks about all the hate and all the comments that were coming. And Chris has been getting a ton of hate. People are resistant to change, but this is where I want to kind of see what he talks about when it comes to, and also share another clip when he talks about how this affects the brand.
Would it be unreasonable to say that he could jeopardize some of the personality traits which made him a successful member in the first place? Perhaps the opposite will happen, and he'll instead pick up new personality traits that better resonate with the current MrBeast audience. This was put forward in many comments supportive of Chris, who implied that there'll be millions of queer kids who look up to him, although this doesn't necessarily mean that it'll add any value to the videos. MrBeast has likely cultivated a massive LGBT audience, all of whom are already watching anyway, and if we've learned anything from Hollywood in recent years, it's that adding over-the-top LGBT characters for the sake of relatability rarely works as intended, and is often nothing more than a distraction from the premise of the movie or video. On top of this, it can be uncomfortable and unrelatable for the silent majority, although as we have seen, a situation like Chris's does have the potential to create an otherworldly amount of discussion, which could be seen as a benefit for the MrBeast brand.
Drama is good for growth, 100%. That would be an easy way to up my
So you're a Keemstar?
The problem is this type of situation is probably the last thing that MrBeast wants to attract, as he's forced to agree with Chris's position, as he has no way of manipulating the situation without being painted as the bad guy. It's a lose-lose situation for MrBeast. I think Jimmy is in an inescapable situation. If he kicks out Chris, cancelled. If he don't, his channel will die for real. An inescapable situation is a pretty good way of describing the drama, which is also why it deserves the harsh label of being a nightmare. Jimmy has no option but to publicly express acceptance of Chris's transition, as silence or even worse, disapproval would come with obvious severe repercussions. However, in accepting Chris's transition, Jimmy implies that this will be the new normal within the content, thus annoying a different group of people, many of whom will never express their true feelings and may rather simply click on fewer MrBeast videos. If this is the case, Jimmy has no option but to accept this fate, as removing Chris from the videos in any kind of way could create an even more severe media firestorm. The only clean solution, should things go south, might be for Chris to resign himself, and even then rumors and bad press will be unavoidable. Whether it be arrogance or ignorance, Chris seems oblivious to how this whole thing might impact Jimmy, forgetting that he achieved his current level of success by avoiding this exact type of drama.
Why does he talk like that? Okay, glasses are coming off. So here's my reaction to this. So obviously, this is a very, very heated topic. As a business owner, as a content creator, when you're conducting business, you never want to ostracize any group, any cross section of society, culture, etc., etc. There's obviously going to be a ton of people who are, not supportive of this, but there's also going to be a ton of people who are supportive of this. And so it really comes down to this. MrBeast is absolutely one of the most influential. I think he's the biggest and maybe even possibly the greatest creator that ever lived. And he runs a business. He runs millions and millions of dollars worth of business. He employs thousands, if not more, people. He's got a huge studio and office. He's got multiple brands, MrBeast Burger, Feastables. The list goes on and on. I'm sure he's got investments in other brands and businesses and entities. Who knows? God knows. So, I mean, this guy is absolutely huge. He's a corporation, you could almost say. He's an incorporated entity. And so it's going to absolutely affect his brand. It's going to absolutely cause, some distress amongst his hardcore fans. But, here's the thing. The way that I look at it is this. My reaction to this is MrBeast is going to be just fine. I don't think that anything's going to happen to MrBeast videos. I think there may be a slight lull or a slight decline in subs and views. I think over time, as long as the content is good, entertaining, it keeps breaking boundaries, it's more innovative. If anything, knowing Jimmy, I mean, he loves challenges. He loves being challenged. One thing he absolutely despises is, mendacity and being bored and dull moments. And his retention brain is always working. This is just another amazing challenge for him rather than like a nightmare. I just think it's another challenge for him. Plus, he is one of the few creators and business people that I feel, and this might have a lot to do with the fact that he's so young, but I think it's something that's ironclad in him, is he has a strong loyalty, an ironclad set of principles and values, and he sticks to them. I just get the feeling that he's going to be loyal to his friend Chris. I don't think there's going to be any major disruption there. I don't think Chris is going to go anywhere else. I think they've been best friends since day one. I've made the comparison that they're kind of like the John and Paul of the Beatles. They're the core of the MrBeast brand. Without John, you don't have the Beatles. Without Paul, you definitely don't have the Beatles. It can't just work with George, Ringo, and Paul, or George, Ringo, and John. I mean, we have to have the core. The core is Paul and John. Well, the equivalent of that in the MrBeast brand is Chris and MrBeast. I mean, I think Chris is probably the most talented cast member of the MrBeast brand. Is that going to change with his transition? I would say two things. Of course, it possibly could. But I think if this is something that is spurned from a decision that is so deep-seated in his heart and soul that is going to absolutely set him free and allow him to be more truthful to himself, his family, etc., that can't help but accelerate and accentuate all the positive things. I think it'll open up his creativity. It'll open up even more. Anytime you can be fully yourself and you don't have to worry and always be grandstanding and putting up a facade, that freedom usually breeds more powerful creativity within and without. And I think it's just going to create better content. He might even be the best version of Chris we've ever seen. I think MrBeast is going to be absolutely fine. I think this video is an obvious attempt, I think, to kind of tackle the drama, and it's working. It's getting millions of views as we speak. And, as a full-time content creator, full disclosure, this is a very, very big topic in my niche. And, of course, I need to talk about this. My audience, I'm getting your DMs, I'm getting your emails. Nez, you got to react to this. Nez, because I react to MrBeast videos all the time. I actually said that MrBeast should be taught in all these universities. Now he's taught at Harvard. He's creating a new YouTube university. I mean, the everything that I've been talking about and predicting has really come to fruition. Here's an excerpt. Here's another reaction.
144 million subscriber business worth hundreds of millions of dollars. He is now, in effect, held hostage.
What options do you have in terms of how to respond to this situation other than just 100% blanket support for anything that goes forward?
That is your only option.
Replied and said, "Got you."
That's not true.
And then sent a bunch of heart emojis and said, I did one more heart than Carl because I'm a better friend. Carl responded the same thing. And I'm just seeing all supportive comments and anything else is being hidden. And I'm
this
just
could
thinking,
happen
like,
at any non-political business.
Right.
If that happened here, like, they'd be like,
and this is also like after MrBeast and Chris Tyson themselves have gotten in trouble for being insensitive about gender identity stuff.
So held hostage is kind of, I think, extreme. But I do think that business mindset, I think MrBeast has a business mindset. This can't not disrupt the balance. It cannot disrupt the flow. It can't not disrupt the old pattern. It's definitely going to disrupt the old pattern. But I just think that they are so close. I think it would take something way more drastic and way more miraculous than this to break apart those two. They're the two oldest friends on the channel. He's the most talented, I think, and best friend of Jimmy on the entire MrBeast channel. He's on multiple channels, the MrBeast Reacts, etc., etc. I just think they're going to keep moving forward. I told you if you stuck around that I would share with you what MrBeast's reaction to this is, and here you go. So you can see here that there was a tweet from somebody who was responding to the new video that I'm reacting to, why Chris will soon be a nightmare for MrBeast. This video, this is an old screenshot, so it now has millions of views. This was, taken earlier. But they basically chastised Sunny V2, like, why did you do this? This is going a little bit too far. And then here's MrBeast's reaction to this. You can see, let me zoom in a little bit more here. You can see MrBeast say, yeah, this is getting absurd. Chris isn't my nightmare. He's my boop friend, and things are fine. All this phobia is starting to piss me off. So that is really, really interesting. So it seems like, to me that Chris is, he's got the full support of MrBeast. He's got the full support of Jimmy. I do think that if Jimmy did let him go, or if suddenly Chris leaves, that would cause a lot of conversation. It would cause a lot of drama, but I don't see that happening. I don't see Chris going anywhere. I think we're living in times. If this happened maybe in 1920, yes, I think there'd be some major ramifications. The fact that we've come this far and we've progressed this far as a society, and we're much more accepting, for good or worse, of different walks of life, different backgrounds, different cultures, different beliefs, etc., which is what, really the foundation of America should be. I think that they're just going to keep moving forward, and this will just be another challenge. And who knows, maybe, just maybe, I like to look at things optimistically. Maybe, just maybe, MrBeast will create some of the best videos that human eyes have ever seen. Maybe the creativity will be at such a level that we'll all be mind blown. Maybe this could shed light on even more unity versus divisiveness, because this is a very divisive topic. But I want to throw this over to you. What do you guys think? Do you agree with Sunny V2? Do you think that this is going to be a nightmare for Chris? Or do you take the stance of, hey, you know what? This is just another obstacle, another challenge. Running a business is always hard, always tough. And if you have somebody in your business, in your brand, who doesn't represent your values and principles, what do you do about it? In this case, it's obvious MrBeast supports everything that Chris is doing. He has no problem, even taking an even starker stance by saying that all this transphobia is really starting to irk him. You don't really hear him talk like that on a public forum. It's really rare that you will. I mean, he's very advertiser friendly, very family friendly. For him to say those kind of words in response to all the hate and all the drama around Chris is very, very unorthodox. And I would almost say is coming from his true beliefs and his true viewpoint. But I want to hear from you. So let me know in the comments. And as always, thank you so much for watching. If you are interested in monetizing your skills, creativity, and experience, earn more, grow faster, and stress less in the creator economy, I'm your boy Nez, your creator economy ambassador. That's all we talk about here on the channel. What's it like being a creator? How to monetize, how to diversify, how to sustain that, content creation tips, business tips, everything you need to make money doing what you love. Make sure you subscribe and follow. I'll see you soon.